Yes, you are the first. Oh my god. You just couldn't. You had to. Didn't you give me enough money already? Thank you anyway. Thank you so much for the gift itself. My god. Well, have a lemon claw will be happy. I know. I know. But there's gonna be so many people doing that, and I can't say no. Oh my god. But yep, this is going to be. Yes, I need to get used to it. I know. I need to get used to it being spoiled. I know. But yeah, this is going to be the last episode of Talk Nerdy to Me. I don't know if this is gonna be the last ever, or this is gonna be like the last of like quote unquote season 1, and maybe I'm gonna do it again at one point. I'm just gonna call it season 2, and we're gonna work from there. But yeah, for now, this is gonna be the last episode. But yeah, okay. Let's dive in, shall we? So, we're gonna talk just about two subjects today. Nothing too big, nothing too wow, just two subjects. I don't think it's gonna be a very big stream. I usually don't do big streams on Mondays, and I was supposed to stream at 3 hours ago, but a big but. I was having a late dinner, so I wasn't able to. I am sorry. And tomorrow's stream is gonna start at the same hour because I have plans at earlier than that. But that's okay. No problems. But yeah, okay. Let's dive in, shall we? The first subject of today will be the Voynich Manuscript. Now, the Voynich Manuscript is one of the most famous unsolved mysteries in the history of books. It's a handwritten manuscript filled with strange illustrations and written in a script that no one has been able to decipher. Despite more than a century of study, its meaning and purpose remain unknown. Now, the manuscript was named after rare book dealer Wilfrid Voynich, who rediscovered it in 1912 in a Jesuit college library in Frascati. He realized immediately that the text and drawings were unlike anything known. Today, the manuscript is kept at Yale University in the Voynich Rare Book and Manuscript Library. So if you want to see this book, just go to Yale. Radiocarbon dating shows the parchment was made between 1404 and 1438, placing it in the late medieval period. That's how old this thing is. However, that doesn't necessarily prove when the text itself was written. Hello, Dem. Hello. We're talking about the Voynich Manuscript, if you heard about it. Anyway. Now, as I said, the manuscript is written in a very mysterious language. Now, what is this language called? It is unknown, but they called it Voynichese. Features that puzzle linguists. The text looks structured like a real language. Words repeat in patterns, and statistical analysis resembles natural languages. But yet, no known alphabet matches it, no clear translation exists, and it doesn't match known ciphers from the time. Even modern computers and cryptographers have failed to crack it. Now, the text is weird. It's from the medieval times, but we don't know for sure if it really was written then or it was written way further than that. But there's not just words that are written in it. As I said, there's also illustrations. The manuscript contains unusual drawings divided into sections. And these are botanical, plants that don't match any known species. Some look partially real, partially imaginary. Astronomical, circular diagrams that resemble star charts or zodiac symbols. Biological, odd drawings of women bathing in green liquid connected by tubes or pools. Pharmaceutical, images of jars in herbal preparations. This suggests it might be a medical or herbal text. It might be, a medical book. Now, there are some theories about its purpose. As I said, it might be a medical book, but there's also other theories. Many explanations had been proposed. The first one would be that this is a lost language. It might be a real language written in a unique script that hasn't survived elsewhere. Another one would be the fact that it has a complex cipher. It could be an encrypted document meant to hide secret knowledge. Some suspect it was written by the medieval scholar Roger Bacon, though evidence is weak. Another one would be the fact that it's an elaborate hoax. Some scholars think it could be a clever fake designed to sell to collectors. However, the manuscript's complexity makes a hoax difficult to explain. And the last one would be that it's alchemical or medical text, as I said. The imagery resembles medieval transitions of alchemy, herbal medicine, and astrology. But then again, people really want to know what exactly is this book about. So, we have a lot of modern attempts to decode it. Experts from many fields have tried. Cryptographers, linguists, historians, even AI researchers. Even code breakers from national security agencies studied it. And no definitive solution has been accepted. But that begs the question, why is it so fascinating? The manuscript sits at a strange intersection. Medieval science, cryptography, art, linguistics, and mystery. It's possible that somewhere in those pages lies a perfectly understandable message. We just haven't found the key yet. So yeah. As I said, we're gonna talk more about this book. Like, for example, I can give you guys now some of the strangest pages from the Voynich Manuscript. And let's explain a bit what researchers think they might represent. So the Voynich Manuscript contains many strange illustrations that researchers divide into different thematic sections because the text is unreadable. Scholars try to interpret the pictures to guess what the manuscript might be about. So let me show you guys some of the strangest pages and what researchers think they might represent. The first ones would be the impossible plants pages. These pages show large plants with roots, stems, leaves, and flowers, but many don't match any known species. What the researchers think is that they might be medical herbs in a medieval herbal guide. Some could be combinations of multiple plants drawn together. And another theory is that they are functional plants, possibly representing coded ingredients. Trees drawings make up the largest part of the manuscript, about half the pages. Hence why people thought that this might actually be, this book might actually be a medical book. But the plants are not the only things that appear in this book. We also have zodiac and astronomy pages. These pages contain circular diagrams with stars and symbols resembling astrological charts. Some show recognizable zodiac signs like Taurus or Pisces or Sagittarius. Often there are rings of small female figures around the diagrams. Some possible meanings would be that it is a medieval astrology calendar, or guides for medical treatments based on zodiac signs, which that's a little bit like, if you ask me, or charts for tracking seasons or fertility cycles. Astrology was closely tied to medicine in the Middle Ages. So again, it might still be a medical book in a very weird way. Some other pages would be the bathing women pages. There are some of the most bizarre illustrations because they show dozens of nude women called nymphs by researchers standing or bathing in green pools, and those pools are connected by strange tubes or pipes. So some theories about these pages might be that either they're medical or anatomical diagrams. The tubes might represent body systems like blood vessels or reproductive organs. Another one would be that would be a medieval spa or a therapeutic bathing. Scholars call this section a balneological, relating to bathing therapy, or fertility or reproductive guide. The heavy focus on female figures suggests the manuscript may deal with women's health or reproduction. So, yeah. Some other pages will be the pharmaceutical pages. And pharmaceutical, I would say that they'll put it in between codes because these pages show jars and containers, small plant fragments, and receipt-like text blocks. What people might theorize that they may be is that the researchers think these could represent medicine preparation, herbal mixtures, and apothecary recipes. This section strongly suggests the manuscript might be a medical or herbal reference book. I mean, not just these, but like the others too. So, what's the big mystery? Even though the images suggest themes like herbal medicine, astrology, bathing therapy, pharmaceuticals, The text remains unreadable, containing over 170,000 characters in an unknown script. Because of this, scholars still debate whether it is a lost language, a complex cipher, a constructed language, or an extremely elaborate hoax. And the strange part is that computer analysis shows the text behaves statistically like a real language, not random symbols, suggesting the manuscript likely contains meaningful information. So, yeah, crazy. What do you guys think? It is crazy. It is very crazy, if you ask me. But, yeah. Well, I hope this was an interesting subject because we're gonna move to the next one. The next subject of today is the Green Children of Woolpit. This is a funny story, but also strange. So, the story of the Green Children of Woolpit is one of the strangest medieval legends in Europe. It tells of two mysterious children who appeared in a village with green-colored skin speaking an unknown language. The event supposedly happened in the 12th century in the village of Woolpit during the reign of King Stephen. Now, according to medieval chronicles, villagers discovered a boy and a girl near some wolf trapping pits outside the village. And some strange details about those kids included their skin had a green tint, they wore unfamiliar clothing made from strange fabric, they spoke a language nobody recognized, and they refused to eat normal food. Eventually, they were taken in by a local landowner named Richard the Calm. So, yeah, what those kids might have been. Now, as I said, for a long time the children refused all food. But then they saw green beans growing in a garden. They immediately recognized them and ate them eagerly. Beans reportedly became their main food until they slowly adapted to normal diets. Beans. They liked beans. Anyway, so what happened to these kids? The boy became sick and eventually died. But the girl survived. And over time, her skin color gradually returned to normal. She learned English and she later married and lived in the region. After learning the language, she told a very strange story about where they came from. Want to know the story? So, their mysterious homeland. The girl said they came from a place called St. Martin's Land. According to her description, the land was always in twilight. The sun was never fully visible. Everything there had a greenish color, and it was separated from our world by a large river. She said they were tending animals when they heard a loud ringing sound and suddenly found themselves in the fields near Woolpit. Crazy, right? So, the story appears in two medieval chronicles written decades later by William of Newburgh and Ralph of Coggenshaw. Because these accounts are secondhand, historians debate how much is fact and what is legend. Now, what are some possible explanations about what's up with those kids? Scholars have proposed several theories. The first one would be that those kids were malnourished foreign children. Some historians think they were Flemish orphans. During the Middle Ages, many Flemish immigrants lived nearby. Malnutrition can cause greenish skin from anemia, chlorosis. Now, again, this is a very possible possibility because, let's be for real, we're talking about the medieval times. They really didn't know very good medicine back then. Anyway, the second one would be that they were lost children in forest tunnels. Another theory suggests they wandered through mine tunnels or defense forests, emerging in a new area where language and customs were unfamiliar. Another one would be the folklore symbolism. Some scholars think the story reflects fairy folklore. Medieval tales often describe people from underground worlds or fairy realms emerging briefly into human society. So it might basically just be a legend, might not actually be real. We also have the science fiction theory. A few modern writers speculate about parallel worlds, underground civilizations, and dimensional portals. There's no evidence for this, but they make the story famous in mystery circles. But why did the story endure? The Green Children mystery survives because it sits at an intersection of medieval history, folklore, and unexplained events. It's one of the earliest recorded European stories where people claim to come from another world. And that's the story of the Green Children of Woolpit. But again, this was the first one, okay? This was the first one. But there are other historical mystery people who appeared suddenly with unknown languages or identities. Throughout history, there have been several strange cases of mystery people, individuals who appeared suddenly with unknown languages, unclear origins, or impossible stories about where they came from. Some were later explained, while others remain puzzling. So, here are a few of the famous examples. We have the first one, the man from Taured, from 1954. One of the most famous modern mystery person stories is The Man from Taured. According to the story, a man arrived at Haneda Airport in 1954 carrying a passport from a country called Taured. Some strange details will be that his passport appeared authentic, with multiple stamps. He pointed to a location between France and Spain when asked where Taured was. And he insisted his country has existed for 1,000 years. The story claims he was detained overnight and mysteriously disappeared. However, historians suspect this story is probably an urban legend that circulated decades later. Another one would be Caspar Hauser from 1828. A real historical mystery involves Caspar Hauser. In 1828, a teenage boy appeared in Nuremberg carrying a strange letter. What he claimed was that he had been raised alone in a dark cell his entire life. He barely knew how to speak, and he had never seen the outside world. His origins remain uncertain. Some believed he was a hidden royal heir, while others think he was a fraud. He was later stabbed under mysterious circumstances and died in 1833. What I found out that's actually funny about these is that the majority of them are just men. Why are men always getting lost? Anyway, the third one would be the Somerton Man in 1948. In 1948, police found the body of an unidentified man on a beach in Adelaide. This case became known as the Somerton Man case. Strange clues included no identification, clothing labels removed, and a secret note reading Tamam Shud hidden in a pocket. For decades, no one knew who he was. But then in 2022, DNA analysis suggested he was Carl Webb, an engineer from Australia. But many parts of the case remain mysterious. Another one would be the man with the iron mask. Another famous mystery identity is the man in the iron mask. This anonymous prisoner was held in several French prisons during the reign of Louis XIV. You want to know something funny? You want to know more about this thing? Watch Versailles. It's a series. I watched it. He appears there. It's an amazing character. I recommend it. Anyway, he was forced to wear a mask so no one could see his face. His identity was never revealed, leading to theories that he was either a secret royal twin, that it's used in the Versailles series, a political prisoner, or a disgraced noble. Again, this appears in the Versailles series. I'm recommending everyone to watch it, even though I know you don't like, even if you don't like the French. I don't like the French neither, but I still watched it. It was really well. It was really good. Anyway, so why these stories fascinate us so much? Cases like this capture attention because they challenge basic assumptions about identity. They raise questions like, could someone exist with no traceable history? Could a language appear that no one recognizes? And how easily could a person disappear or reinvent themselves in the past? Before modern records and DNA databases, it was surprisingly easy for someone to arrive somewhere and claim to be anyone, as we have seen in many movies. Now, the key truth here is that most mystery person cases eventually turn out to involve misidentification, mental illness, lost records, or deliberate deception. But a few still remain partially unexplained, which is why they continue to fascinate historians and mystery enthusiasts. Now, remember earlier when I said that the Voynich Manuscript might be just a historical hoax? Well, there are more than just the Voynich Manuscript. Throughout history, some hoaxes were so convincing that entire countries, including scientists, governments, and newspapers, believed them for years. So, here are some of the strangest and most famous ones. The first one would be the Piltdown Man between 1912 and 1953, one of the biggest scientific hoaxes ever. In 1912, amateur archaeologist Charles Dawson announced he had discovered ancient human fossils in Piltdown. Scientists believe it was the missing link between humans and apes. The fossil was named Piltdown Man. For 40 years, it shaped human evolution theories. In 1953, scientists discovered the truth. The skull belonged to a modern human, the jaw belonged to an orangutan, and the bones were chemically stained to appear ancient. It was one of the most embarrassing moments in scientific history. Haha. Anyway, Another one would be the Great Moon Hoax in 1835. In 1835, the newspaper The New York Sun published a series of articles claiming astronomers had discovered life on the moon. The supposed discoveries by astronomer John Herschel included bat-like humanoids, giant bison, unicorn-like animals, and crystal cities. Readers across the United States and Europe believed it. The newspaper circulation skyrocketed before the story was exposed as satire. It was so easy to create fake news back in the 35s. It was 1800s, so it was easy to do that back in the 1800s. Now, another one will be the Cardiff Giant in 1869. Nice. Workers digging a well in Cardiff uncovered what looked like a 10-foot stone man. The Bone Wars? Many people believed it was the fossilized body of a giant mentioned in the Bible. Crowds traveled from across the United States to see it. The giant was actually carved from gypsum by an atheist named George Hull to mock religious beliefs about giants. Even famous showman P.T. Barnum tried to buy it. I think I've heard about the Bone Wars. Another one would be the Cottingley Fairies in 1917. Two young girls from Cottingley took photographs showing themselves with tiny winged fairies. The photos convinced many people, including even author Arthur Conan Doyle. Doyle publicly defended the images as proof that fairies existed. Decades later, the girls admitted they had cut fairy pictures from books and used head pins to hold them up. I will look them up after this. Another one will be the Skessington Runstone in 1898. In 1898, a farmer claimed he found a stone carved with Viking runes in Kenningstone. The stone suggested Vikings had reached North America long before Columbus. The artificial became known as the Kenningstone Runstone. Many scholars believe it is a hoax created by Scandinavian immigrants. However, debates about its authenticity still continue. Me personally, I think the Vikings found America. But oh well. Now, why do massive hoaxes actually work? Large hoaxes often succeed because they exploit national pride, religious beliefs, scientific excitement, and media hype. People want discoveries to be true, so skepticism sometimes disappears. Now, a strange fact about this is that even today, historians suspect that some famous discoveries might still be undetected hoaxes. A convincing fake can fool experts for decades. Now, let's see what's with the Bone Wars that you've been saying. Okay, let's see. So, the Bone Wars. Let's see what's this about. The Bone Wars were one of the most intense scientific rivalries in history. Two paleontologists competed so aggressively to discover dinosaur fossils that their feud became legendary. The rivals were Edward Drinker Cope and Othniel Charles Marsh. Their conflict lasted from the 1870s to the 1890s and helped launch the golden age of dinosaur discovery in the United States. Okay. Now, let's see how this rivalry started. The feud began with a mix of ego, competition, and betrayal. Early on, Cope and Marsh were actually friends, but tensions grew when Marsh secretly paid fossil workers to send discoveries directly to him instead of Cope. From then on, the two scientists tried to outdo and sabotage each other. Oh my god. Oh no. That this is not gonna end well. During the Bone Wars, they bribed fossil hunters, spied on each other's dig sites, publicly attacked each other's researchers, and rushed incomplete dinosaur descriptions into scientific journals. There are even stories that crews destroyed fossils with dynamite so the rival couldn't collect them. Okay, that's just trying to fucking fuck up with the history, and that's not alright. But anyway, despite the chaos, the library produced an explosion of discoveries. Together, they discovered over 140 dinosaur species. Some of the most famous include Stegosaurus, Triceratops, Diplodocus, and Allosaurus. These discoveries helped transform paleontology into a major scientific field. Oh well. But as in anything that's made out of spite, we also have some embarrassing mistakes. Because both scientists rushed to publish discoveries, many mistakes happened. And for example, Cope famously reconstructed the marine reptile Elasmosaurus with its head placed on the tail. Marsh publicly mocked him, creating one of the most famous scientific embarrassments ever. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. But the feud eventually ruined both men financially and damaged their reputations. By the end, both had spent most of their money, their public arguments embarrassed the scientific community, and many fossils were poorly documented or lost. I was expecting that. Oh, I did. We saw that one coming. Even though the rivalry was destructive, it also dramatically advanced dinosaur science. Before the Bone Wars, only a handful of dinosaurs were known. Afterward, the American West became famous as the dinosaur fossil hotspot. And then we have also a strange final twist. When Cope died in 1897, he made a bizarre request. He wanted his brain measured after death to prove it was larger than Marsh's. Marsh refused to participate in the comparison. Cope's skull is still preserved today at the University of Pennsylvania. Well, there you go. Your little dose of dinosaur content. I hope you like your dinosaur content very much. Very dinosaur. Is there something else you would like for me to look for? This was interesting. Okay, what else do you want me to look for? More dino facts. Okay. More dino content. Okay. Well, dinosaurs lived for over 160 million years. And many things about them are still surprising. So here are some fascinating and sometimes strange dinosaur facts. Dinosaurs lived on every continent. Fossils of dinosaurs have been found on all 7 continents, including Antarctica. When dinosaurs lived, the continents were joined together in a supercontinent called Pangaea, which made it easier for species to spread across the world. Another funny fact is that birds are living dinosaurs. Modern birds evolved from small feathered dinosaurs. Scientists now consider birds to be part of the dinosaur lineage, especially relatives of species like Velociraptor. This means dinosaurs never truly went extinct. They evolved into birds. So when you see a bird, you basically see a dinosaur. And because of that, we know that some dinosaurs had feathers. Many dinosaurs had feathers long before birds appeared. A famous example is Archaeopteryx, which had both dinosaur traits and bird-like feathers. Feathers probably evolved first for warmth, display, and camouflage. Flight came later. That's why there are still birds out there who cannot fly, even if they do have feathers. Like the, what do you call it? The guy is that putting his fucking head in the ground. Yes, birds are real. What the fuck are you talking about? What's that? The guy's name? You know what I mean? The big bird that puts his head in the ground. Anyway. Those birds are humongously huge. I'm not surprised if they came from fucking dinosaurs, to be honest. Anyway, the largest dinosaur ever. They're government spies. Okay, the largest dinosaur ever. Some dinosaurs were the largest land animals that ever lived. One of the biggest known is Argentinosaurus, which might have been around 35 to 40 meters long and weighing up to 70, even 100 tons. That's heavier than several elephants combined. A very big dinosaur. But even though they were big, many dinosaurs had small brains. Some large dinosaurs had surprisingly small brains. For example, Stegosaurus had a brain roughly the size of a walnut, despite being about 9 meters long. This doesn't necessarily mean it was extremely non-intelligent, but that it relied more on instinct, as many men do. Hello, RB. We're talking dino facts. We're talking dinosaur. I hope you enjoy the dinosaur content. What? Stegosaurus? Stegosaurus? Am I saying it wrong? I'm sorry if I do. Anyway. We talked about the biggest dinosaur, but what was the fastest dinosaur? Some dinosaurs were very fast runners. Estimates suggest Ornithomimus may have run at speeds around 60 to 70 kilometers an hour. Around 40 meters per hour. They had long legs similar to modern ostriches. Oh, ostriches, that's what I was looking for. That's the bird I think that really came out of a fucking dinosaur. The ostriches, they are big and scary and they do look like a dinosaur if you ask me. Now, you guys heard a lot of stories, but how did the dinosaurs went extinct? Most dinosaurs disappeared around 66 million years ago after the Cretaceous-Paleogene extinction event. The leading cause was a massive asteroid impact that created the Siculus crater. The impact triggered a global fires, dust blocking sunlight, and collapse of food chains. But birds survived and evolved, and look at them now. The modern dinosaurs. Burp. Now you want to know mind-blowing fact? The time between Stegosaurus, which apparently I'm pronouncing it wrong, and Tyrannosaurus rex was longer than the time between T-Rex and humans. The dinosaurs themselves lived through enormous spans of time. Boom. Do you guys want to hear more about dinosaurs? Because I have an idea. I'm gonna tell you guys about the weirdest dinosaurs ever discovered. So, some dinosaurs were far stranger than the classic movie monsters. Paleontologists have discovered species with sails, enormous claws, duckbills, and even dinosaur unicorn horns, in between quotes. Here are some of the weirdest ones that were ever found. The first one will be the Spinosaurus, the sail-backed river hunter. One of the strangest large predators ever discovered. So, their weird features were a huge sail on its back made of long spines, crocodile-like jaws, and it was adapted for swimming. A recent study suggests it may have been the first semi-aquatic dinosaur, hunting fish in rivers. It might even have spent some more time in water than on land. So yeah. Now, a little disclaimer, if I keep on butchering those names is because they're dinosaur names, and let's be for real, they're not the easiest names to pronounce. Anyway, the next one is Therizinosaurus, the giant clawed mystery. When its claws were first discovered, scientists thought they belonged to a giant turtle. Some strange traits about it's that the claws are up to 1 meter long, has a huge belly, a feathered body, and surprisingly, it's herbivorous, so it eats plants. It looked like a bizarre mix of sloth, bird, and dinosaur. Beautiful, isn't it? The next one is Parasaurolophus, the dinosaur with a trumpet head. This dinosaur had a long, curved, tube-like crest on its head. Scientists believe it worked like a musical instrument. Air passing through the crest could create deep resonating sounds. Possibly it was used for communication, mating displays, and warning calls. Oh yeah, natural alarm. What we don't know is that they actually evolved into roosters. Hopefully not. Anyway, Pachycephalosaurus. Oh my god, these are so hard names to pronounce. The head-butting dinosaur. This dinosaur had a skull dome up to 25 centimeters thick. Wait, how much would that be in inches? Give me a second. 25. Doop, doop, doop. So that would be 10 inches thick. Damn. So it had a skull dome up to 10 inches thick. Scientists believe it may have been used its head to ram rivals, similar to modern bighorn sheep. Its skull looked like a solid helmet of bone. Imagine having one of these. Imagine having one of these. Another one will be Dinosaurus, the turtle hands dinosaur. For decades, scientists only had its huge arms, each over 2.4 meters long, which that's roughly 5 feet, no 5, sorry, 6 foot 7, something around that. When the skull skeleton was finally discovered, it turned out to be incredibly bizarre. Duck-like bill, humpback sail, massive arms with claws and long legs. It looked like a mix between a dinosaur, a camel, and a duck. Oh no, a duck. Anyway. Another dinosaur, it's a Margasaurus, the double-spined dinosaur. This long-necked dinosaur had 2 rows of tail spines running down its neck and back. Scientists aren't sure what they were for, but there are some possibilities. A sail-like skin membrane, display structures, or defense against predators. Another dinosaur will be Carnotaurus, the horned predator, one of the most unusual meat-eating dinosaurs. Its features were 2 horns above the eyes, extremely tiny arms, and possibly one of the fastest large predators. Its skin impressions show armor-like scales, which is rare for carnivorous dinosaurs. Now, the weirdest fact of them all is many of these strange dinosaurs were discovered during the Bone Wars, when paleontologists rushed to find new species in the American West. Because of that competition, we now know dinosaurs were far more diverse and bizarre than early scientists imagined. Now, we talked about strange dinosaurs, but do you want to talk about scary dinosaurs? Scary. So, some dinosaurs were not only huge, but also perfectly built predators with powerful jaws, sharp claws, and incredible speed. Here are some of the scariest dinosaurs ever discovered based on what scientists know about their size, weapons, and hunting abilities. The first one is also the very known, also very known Tyrannosaurus rex, the apex predator. Probably the most famous predator in Earth's history. So, what does it make it so terrifying? The bite force was about 35,000 to 57,000 newtons, one of the strongest ever. Its teeth were up to 30 centimeters long, which that's almost like 15 inches. Not 15. Yeah, 15 inches. Anyway, could crush bone easily and an excellent sense of smell. Despite its size, which was around 12 to 13 meters long, it was likely a very effective hunter. So yeah, it's gaining its title. Another one is Spinosaurus for some fucking reason. Anyway, the giant river predator, possibly the largest carnivorous dinosaur ever. Its terrifying traits was that the length up to 15 meters, crocodile-like jaws full of sharp teeth, and adapted for hunting fish and aquatic prey. Some scientists think it hunted like a giant prehistoric crocodile. So just imagine a big-ass crocodile. Biggest crocodile. Now, if you ask me, this name is a little bit on the nose. Gigantosaurus. Anyway, the massive South American killer. This predator from Argentina was one of the largest meat eaters ever. Its scary features was that it was up to 13 meters long, blade-like teeth designed for slicing flesh, possibly hunted in groups, though this is debatable, and it could attack enormous plant eaters. The plant eaters was basically like, the ones that were eating plants. That's what it meant. Anyway, Carcharodontaurus. What the fuck is this name? The shark-toothed lizard. Named because his teeth resemble those of a great white shark. Its characteristics were that it had serrated teeth like steak knives, length around 13 meters, and lived in North Africa, lived in North Africa. These slicing teeth were perfect for tearing through huge prey. That would be helpful. You catch one of these, you get one its teeth, boom, knife. Easy knife. Easy knife. The next one is Utahraptor, the giant raptor, much larger than the movie raptors. Its dangerous traits was that it was about 6 to 7 meters long, huge sickle-shaped claw on each foot, and possibly hunted in coordinated groups. Its claws could reach 24 centimeters long, and they were used to slash prey. You don't want to fuck up with that guy. You don't want to fuck up with that guy. Oh, hello, hello. Hello, bro. What you doing? What you doing? We're talking about dinosaurs. The next dinosaur, scary dinosaur, is Mapusaurus, the pack hunter, another giant predator discovered in Patagonia. Multiple skeletons found together suggest group hunting, and this might have allowed them to attack enormous sauropods like Argentinosaurus. Now, we have another one. Therizinosaurus, the nightmare herbivore. Even though it likely ate plants, it looked terrifying. And why is it scary? Because its claws were over 1 meter long, large feathered body, and massive arms. Those claws could have been devastating for defense. So don't make it angry. Now, the most frightening truth about this is that the scariest dinosaurs weren't always the largest. Many experts believe smaller, faster predators might have been the most dangerous because they could run faster, hunt in groups, and attack more efficiently. Dinosaurs like raptors may have been the true nightmares of the prehistoric world. And now, to end this nicely, we talked about dinosaurs. Yeah. But the dinosaurs weren't the only ones that were existing in the prehistoric times. Earth's history includes many creatures that were even stranger than dinosaurs. These animals lived before, during, or after the dinosaur era and often looked almost alien. So, here are some of the most bizarre prehistoric animals that weren't dinosaurs. The first one is Anomalocaris, the alien predator. This creature lived about 520 million years ago during the Cambrian period. Some strange features that it had was large compound eyes, two spiny grasping arms, and circular mouth made of plates. For a long time, scientists thought its body parts were three different animals until they realized they belonged to the same creature. Scary. The next one would be Dunkleosteus, the armored fish monster. This massive fish lived around 360 million years ago. Some of its terrifying traits would be that the head was covered in thick armor plates, blade-like jaw edges instead of teeth, and the bite force comparable to T-Rex. It was one of the top predators of ancient oceans. But the ocean had another guy, Helicoprion, the spiral-toothed shark. This shark had one of the strangest jaws ever discovered. Some of its features was that it had a spiral of teeth shaped like a circular saw, and its teeth were arranged in a tight spiral inside the mouth. For decades, scientists couldn't figure out where the tooth spiral was located until CT scans revealed it sat in the lower jaw. But let's talk about more like one that land had too. Megatherium, the giant ground sloth. This animal lived during the Ice Age and was as large as an elephant. Some odd characteristics of it would be that it could stand upright on two legs, massive claws, and related to modern sloths. Despite its terrifying size, it was probably a plant eater. Sid? Sid? Sid the sloth? A dandelion must be the last of the season. That was him. Anyway, Titonoboa, the giant snake, the largest snake ever discovered. Its estimated size was it is between 13 and 15 meters long, and it's also over 1 ton in weight. It lived around 60 million years ago in what is now Colombia. It likely hunted crocodile-like animals in swampy forests. I was talking about dinosaurs. Now we concentrate on like other creatures, bizarre creatures, from history. So yeah, if you think that crocodiles are scary, well, apparently a snake existed that was able to eat them. But we also have Hallucigenia, the upside down creature. This tiny animal looked so bizarre that scientists initially reconstructed it upside down. Some strange traits about it was that it had long defensive spines on its back, tiny tentacle-like legs, and worm-like body. Its appearance was so unusual that it was named after the word hallucination. Even tiny guys are weird. You don't have to be a big guy to be weird. But we also have Opabinia, the five-eyed animal. Another extremely strange Cambrian creature. It had 5 eyes, of course, a flexible trunk-like mouth, and a segmented swimming body. When scientists first presented it in 1972, the audience reportedly laughed because it looked so bizarre. Now, the Cambrian explosion. Many of the strangest prehistoric animals appeared during the Cambrian explosion, about 541 million years ago. During this time, life suddenly developed an enormous variety of body forms. Some evolutionary experiments succeeded, and others disappeared forever. Mind-blowing fact is that if you travel back 500 million years, many ocean animals would look so strange that you might not even recognize them as related to modern life. You might even think that you're on a different planet. But yeah. Well, as I said at the beginning, this is going to be a very short stream. I just wanted to end with all the stuff, and look, I even talked about some more than I was initially intending to. But I hope you had fun. This was the last episode of Talk Nerdy to me, at least for now. I don't know if this is gonna be the last, or I'm gonna do like a impromptu season 2 of this. If you do want me to do that, please let me know. Now, again, I hope you had fun. I surely did. It was really, really cool to see that. And again, thank you, Zero, for gifting, for the gifted sub. Thank you so much. Now, I hope you also had fun, because I surely did. And see you guys tomorrow. I'm gonna stream again tomorrow. I'm gonna start streaming at the same hour I started today. And I probably gonna start streaming another game. I don't know which game yet. It's gonna be a surprise for me as well. We're gonna find out tomorrow. Yay, yay. Anyway, but yeah, hope you had fun and discovered even more new things. But for now, bye-bye.